Hey there, welcome to day 321 of our BU 365 day challenge. Do one thing every day that improves us. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Today we're talking about your identity, our identity, my identity, your choice. And I say that because my lesson learned for today for No Nonsense November, day 17, is that we don't always think we can, but we get to actually choose and create our identity. So let's talk about an identity in a little bit of detail. I took actually 2 pages of notes to talk about an identity today. What is identity? Our identity is actually, they're just labels that we use to describe and categorize people. So we usually, it's who or what a person or thing is. It's a label to describe, or characteristics that describe a person or an individual person or a group of people. We talk about it a lot in the media and around politics and on scientific studies, and when we're hiring and firing people and we're trying to analyze their personalities and things. But our identity has several characteristics. We get to choose our identity. Our identity is a choice between the characteristics that make us up, and they make up who we are. Identities have different characteristics. They're plural, meaning we're not just one thing. I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a sister. I'm not just a daughter. I'm not just a grandmother. I'm not just a business owner. I'm not just an engineer. I'm all of those things and much, much more. So we're more than one thing simultaneously. We have more than one label, more than one way to describe ourselves, more than one identity at any given time. We have different and changing meaning to the identities that we are a part of. If I am a mom, I might be a working mom. I might be a single mom. I might be a divorced mom. I might be a widower, etc. There's so many different subcategories in each of the different categories, and they change over time. I was a teenager. And as we age is one of the demographics for things that we use to label and describe people. Now I'm a senior citizen. But each of those, we want to remember that they're plural, they are dynamic and ever-changing, they are contextual and interactive. They're interactive and changing all the time, right? They're negotiated, right? We negotiate the roles that we're going to play and the identities we're going to play, especially when it comes to relationships. At work, you might be a leader or you might be a follower. You might be a manager or you might be working on the line. You might be a service provider, or all kinds of different things. And our identities can be privileged, marginalized, silenced, or ignored. Oftentimes, we do those things to ourselves. It's not just always other people doing those things to us. We're going to talk about how do we choose our identity and how we define our identity. But I want to talk a little bit more about the different components of identity, because I found a huge list of these, and I'll be honest, I've not ever really consciously thought a whole lot about my identity. I think it ties into our self-confidence, our self-esteem. It ties into our ability to stand up for ourselves and a whole lot of other things. But our identity is the characteristics that determine who or what a person or thing is. They involve the elements or characteristics include race, ethnicity, gender, age, sexual orientation, physical attributes, personality, political affiliations. I don't know about you, but I didn't have any political affiliations when I was younger. I still don't. But that's how some people are labeled or grouped. Look at all in the media right now, all the stuff going on between the Democratic and Republican Party, right? And then the MAGA and everybody. It's just crazy. Religious beliefs, professional identities. I talked about those a little bit, managers, leaders, etc. Our values, hobbies, interests, experiences, skills, and abilities, likes and dislikes, relationships, maturity doesn't equal age. That's another category. Our ideas, beliefs, and our attitudes about what is important that help guide us to create and live the life that we like, the life that we want. How we make decisions, all of it, everything, how we make choices. All of it is part of our identity. We decide and choose to see ourselves as, and one of my friends just posted a post today about this. Actually it was Tony Robbins, was one of my mentors and coaches. Tony posted about you make a promise to yourself, and then you break it. You say you're going to do something and then you don't do it. And you do it a couple of times. And pretty soon you label yourself, I'm a procrastinator. I can't depend on myself to do what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it. Therefore, I will label myself, I will identify as a procrastinator from now on. And until you change that, guess what? You're not going to keep your word to yourself. So we get to choose the identity that we want. And how do we do that? Number one, we've talked about all these things because we are, as we're becoming a better version of ourselves, this whole challenge is about creating the identity that we want so we can become the best version of ourselves. So number one, we define our values, and that's from our personal beliefs and the things that are fundamental to us, our core values, right? Not just our regular values, but what is something that we're going to stand by and be true to throughout the majority of our lifetime. Again, core values can change, but it takes a whole lot to change a core value. Number two, we make our own choices. We decide what feels right for us and what doesn't feel right for us. Number three, spend time alone. We have to spend time alone so we can become self-aware, so we know what is and isn't important to us, so we can decide, yes, this is me. No, this is not me. And finally, consider how to achieve your ideals. How do you become the best version of yourself? What do you need to do? What skills, abilities, thoughts, beliefs, people do you want to model? Masterminds, coaches, whatever works for you. Our true identity is formed through self-awareness and by letting go of conditional thoughts and beliefs. Now, that's a biggie. We could talk probably a week about conditional thoughts and beliefs that we've had, beliefs that relate things together that aren't even related together, but we linked them together in our mind. False beliefs, that's a whole other topic. Our self-identity elements are personality traits, abilities, plus attitudes, interests, hobbies, social roles, beliefs, etc. So our action item today is just to share and think about your identity and notice as you go about your day, different roles you're playing and different identities you're accepting. One of the biggest lessons learned for anybody that gets married or lives with someone in a committed relationship is the things you do, the roles you take on become your responsibility. And at least it always has in my relationships. If you do the laundry all the time, guess what? Pretty soon, if somebody doesn't have clean clothes, you're responsible because you didn't get the laundry done. And so we fall into roles, not always consciously, and some of them fit with our identity and make us feel good, others don't. So we want to decide. So share one element of your identity today in the comments below. Me, I'm a grandma. I identify with being a grandma. I adore being a grandma and mom too. So I adore being a parent and a grandparent. That would be one of my identities that I have consciously chosen to adopt. Now, not everybody whose kids have kids adopt and identify with the role of grandmother for their identity. Some people hate being grandmas. They won't even let the kids call them grandma. They make up all kinds of other crazy names that are anything but grandma. So share in the comments below one identity that you relate to and that I guess that you really embrace and you're proud of. Let's share those today. All right, if I can help in any way, ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.